What's up, y'all? Welcome to the On the Come Up podcast, where creative entrepreneurs share their come up journeys that turn their passions into success. I'm your host, Kimberly, so let's get started. What is up, guys? We are back, but today we got a little bit something different going on. We are in Austin, Texas at Just Push Record Studios. Today we have Laila. Laila is an actor. She's actually from San Antonio, so...
Born and raised.
So shout out to her for...
San Antonio.
Driving to Austin. How was the drive?
What did George Strait say from San Antonio? Well, the drive is not that bad, honestly. When I was younger, I felt like it was a longer drive than now. Now that I'm a grown adult, I feel like it's just down the street.
So it was like an hour, give or take?
An hour and 30.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Not that bad. So how did you start, how did you first discover your passion for acting? You're with an agency, correct?
Yes, I'm signed with an agency. This is my second agency that I've ever been represented by. So the way I figured out that I wanted to be in acting was, I was 7, actually. I ended up getting an audition through my mom. So way back when, this was when radio shows had that, do you want to be on Disney Channel, blah, 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 is your child like Hannah Montana, blah, blah, blah. So my mom, she knew that my favorite show was Hannah Montana at the time. So she was like, you know what, let's try it. We'll go to Austin, blah, blah, blah. So she called in the radio show, and she was like, I have a daughter, blah, blah, blah. So whatever, she got me an audition. We ended up coming to Austin. It was held at some hotel. I remember it so vividly, too. They sent over a script 2 days prior for me to go ahead and get familiar with, and I was going to audition with that. When I got to the hotel, there was groups of people, so many people, and I remember we went into this big conference room, and there was a panel of just judges. I ended up hearing my name. I got called up. When I went up, I auditioned, and it was for a cereal. It was for a cereal brand or something like that. And I just remember I loved it. And once I left, I remember hearing bits and pieces, and they wanted me. So at that time, this little program or whatever it wasn't an acting agency. So it wasn't what I'm in now. It was a school. So what they wanted was money. So, they were saying, okay, your daughter's going to be sent to this school. She's going to learn acting. She's going to learn dance. She's going to do music, blah, 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 whatever. But at the time, my family just didn't have the money for it. So with that, I remember on the drive back home, my mom, my dad, they were talking to me, and they were telling me, you know what, Laila, if you really want to do this, if this is something you really want to do, we'll figure it out later. We'll put you in something, blah, blah, blah. And then the dream just kind of got lost. I stopped wanting to act. I started wanting to get into dance. So that's when I started getting into dancing. I got into a dance team. I started performing, and then I got a love for dance. And after that, I got into high school, and then it wasn't until maybe 15, 16, that's when I was like, you know what? Let me try acting again. Let me go out and venture, and let me look up, do some research, and see what I can do for myself. And when I was 16, I remember looking up agencies online. I had a friend of mine that was already represented by an agency, and we were on the same dance team. And so she had given me some advice, and she was like, you know what? Why don't you make yourself an interview with my agent? And I was like, you know what? I will. I was 16, and so that's what I'm saying. It's just, it's very surreal, just because me, I'm 23 now. So me talking about it, and me just envisioning my 16-year-old self, and just thinking about how she was, and just trying to get into this industry. So I made myself an interview. My mom drove me to the interview. She sat in with me, and it was like a group interview. There was other actors and other individuals that were going on to try to get into the agency. So anyways, I auditioned, and I ended up getting signed. After that, my mom, she was kind of like, well, me, I don't know anything of this business, so you're going to have to figure it out. Like, if this is what you want to do, you're going to have to figure it out. And so with that, I was just like, you know what? I will. So I was with that agency I was signed with that agency for 2 years. And then after the 2 years, I booked maybe 2 commercials, and those were 2 HEB commercials. After that, I felt like I wanted to work more. Like, I felt like I needed some more experience. I felt this agency wasn't doing enough for me. So ventured out. The friend of mine that I was with that agency, she ended up moving to this agency that I'm with now. So she ended up advising me, you know what, talk to this person, blah, blah, blah. So I did, and here I am.
Here we are. Mm-hmm. So I actually met Laila. We were on set like, what, a year and a half ago?
Set up Pizza Patron, yes.
Yeah, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. I remember I was going back on our messages, and I had asked you to be on the podcast like a year ago, like literally a year ago, like today, or, you know, not exact today, but a year ago. And I was like, that's so crazy, like full circle moment here. Like, here you are, you know? And I just believe like everything happens for a reason. So.
Exactly. Yeah, me too. And like I said, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the opportunity of even, you know, just you letting me on here. You know, that's what I'm saying. This is my very first time ever being on a podcast, or even just getting into or venturing out into a different area, you know? Like acting, it's a completely different genre from music and dance. Like, yes, it gets incorporated in it, but I think acting is just very broad. And you, with your podcast, it's a little mixture in there.
Yeah, right? Yeah. What was your first role? Like, how did you feel stepping into that?
My first role? My first role was HEB commercial, and I was an extra.
That was mine too.
Really?
That's crazy.
That's
HEB,
awesome.
yeah.
So I was an extra in the background, and I was supposed to be like a little dancer. Oh. It was at like a barbecue. So set, I don't really know how to explain it. It really just, it was like a family barbecue. Like, it wasn't really intimidating. On set as an extra, it's a whole lot of waiting.
Right.
It's like, get ready to sit and wait. Like, that's what you're going to do. But I felt like very comfortable. Everybody around me, the first time I got booked, I was 16. So at that, I was just barely, you know, learning everything. My mom tagged along with me, and she was just there, just waiting with me. But I remember I was obsessed with, like, the crafty.
Oh, yeah.
Just going back and forth to crafty. Because, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
All you do is you just sit and wait. When you're in extra, you just sit and wait. So I just remember they're like, yeah, like, the snacks are over there, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, oh, back and forth.
Is there a particular routine that you follow to get into character for your auditions? Because I love seeing your bloopers on Instagram, and I was like, she is me. Like,
yeah. So no, there's not. Well, yes and no. My acting coach, she has taught me like a breathing exercise to kind of get my mind in the zone and kind of psych myself out to not, I guess, kind of be intimidated by the camera.
Right.
So just a breathing routine before, and my self-tapes, I don't stop recording. So that's kind of like, what it goes based off of. So when I do start recording, I just hit start, and it just keeps going. And if I mess up, I'm just like, you know what, just keep going. Because that's the best part about self-taping is you're your own editor, you know? So you mess up, okay, well, I'm just going to cut this piece out. And then, so with that, I just keep going, keep recording nonstop. And then whatever I don't use or whatever I don't need, I just clip it. And then that's where I get all my bloopers from.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Do you feel like that's more efficient than just like cut, record?
I would say so. Me personally, yes, just because I've tried the tripod with the Bluetooth clicker, clicking start and doing this and that, but I feel like it just takes more out of my, I guess, my what I'm trying to go through, like my process.
Like your mindset.
Yeah, my process. Like I'm thinking about my line, and then I have to press play. You know, I have to. So
and then,
no,
and then you're like, wait, what was that?
Yes. Yeah. So I'd rather just let it play, let it keep recording, and then at the very end, I'll do the work. But at that, I do have a lot of storage on my phone. So that's one thing that I did invest in is I got 1 terabyte for my phone just because I'm always recording. I'm always taking photos, just things like that.
Oh, so you have like the iCloud?
No, so when I bought my phone, I bought it with 1 terabyte for memory.
Okay.
So you know how they have like 512 gigabytes or blah, blah, blah. When I bought my phone, I bought it with 1 terabyte. And 1 terabyte is supposed to be a lot, like a lot of storage. So that's why I said when I record, it's long. Like it could be like 25 minutes long, 30 minutes long. And, you know, and my phone, it won't give me that alert of, you don't have no storage, blah, 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 you know?
So when you audition, do you like audition and then forget about it? Or do you like harp on it and be like, okay, am I going to get this role? Or,
oh, no, girl, we can't.
Yeah.
We can't.
So you audition and forget about it. Yeah,
well,
so do I.
Yes.
I've learned to do that.
So I've learned to not dwell on it. You know, like there's been times where I've gotten film roles and I'm like this is the lead. I'm getting excited. I did so much prep for it. I called my acting coach. We did a private. We're doing this, and that. We send it in, and like, you know, I'm talking about it. I'm trying to put good things in the air, and then I don't hear anything. So it's like being an actor. I feel like you can't think about what all the no's that you're getting because you're going to continue to get 500 more no's, 50 more no's. You don't ever know. So I feel like when you audition, put your all, and if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be.
Did you ever have to decline an audition because it didn't? It's like,
yes,
this role does not suit who I am.
Yes.
Do you feel bad when you do that, or how often does that happen?
Not very often. It's maybe like 1 in 5 times.
Is it because it's like the character role, or is it just?
Sometimes it's because there was this one past one that I just recently declined just because of the, I'd say, it's just not what I'm going for. You know, at the end of the day, you have to take a look at yourself and you got to think, okay, well, acting, this is my work. This is my art. This is what I'm going to be putting out for the world. So let's say, you know, an explicit character or something comes out, and let's say later on in life it just doesn't click with who I am. I don't know, I second guess.
No, I feel that too, because there was one time where I did have like an audition, and it was for a film, but the character was, I don't even know who the character was. It was my acting coach was like, that character is this and this and this, and I was like, I had no idea that's who they were referencing, you know, because it was probably like, I think it was like one of like an old movie or whatever. And so I was just like, oh, I don't want to do that. Yeah. So I had to politely decline, you know, because it's like that was not going to suit me.
With that also, there was another role. Well, it wasn't necessarily a role, but it was kind of like a social media influencer, content creator type thing. That was going to be paid however much for this year, but you have to promote this brand. You have to make videos for this brand, you know? And so with that, myself, I'm trying to make a name for myself. So I'm trying to pursue me and trying to throw my name out there. So with that, I would want to promote me more than, you know.
The brand itself? Do you have a dream role? Not really?
Not right now, at this moment.
Oh, okay, because you kind of reminded me, like, I kind of wanted to do something like Jake from State Farm, but he is the he's the face of the brand, right?
Yes,
And so that kind of reminded me that's how not what you wanted to be seen as. But I don't know, for like, I'm not saying necessarily like insurance, but Jake, like, he gets to be on any kind of set, meet any kind of people, and that's what I kind of feel like I want to, venture out and try at least.
I could see you doing something like that.
And be like the face of, because you've seen, Flo from Progressive, Jake from State Farm.
Yes.
And then I've seen that AT&T girl. She was like the short brunette. She's popped up on a few ads, and I was like, I don't know who she is, but I was like, I just see her face, and she's with this AT&T all the time.
She said she looks familiar. I see her all the time. That's funny.
What has been your most memorable role that you've had?
I'd say the Pizza Patron. Pizza Patron, just because I was one of the main faces.
Face, the principal.
Mm-hmm. So with that, it was really exciting for me. After the finished project already came out, and then you see your face right there. Other projects that I've been on, I know that I'm right there. I know that that's me, but
other people don't.
Yeah. So it's like I have two grandparents that watch TV, like the live stream,
like your
TV.
cable.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they'll sit there and they'll watch the commercials, and they'll be like, "Yeah, where's your commercial at? I'm waiting for you." Blah blah blah. Like I've done Safe Flight, and my Safe Flight I wasn't visible, so I was background, but my face wasn't recognizable. And so when the Safe Flight comes up, my grandpa, he'll see it, and he's like, "Oh, I know that's you right there. I know that's you. I see your hair." But it's just because like I tell them,
right.
like it'll come out, and I'll tell them, like, that's me. They're like, oh, but that's really what I do it for, because the rest of my family, we watch streaming, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon. Like, we don't watch cable like that, So if I do come on a commercial, who's gonna see it, And me, I pay for no ads. So Hulu, I don't have ads.
Oh, okay.
So things like that, I don't ever see ads. Or maybe YouTube, that's when they'll come out. But other than that, like, I haven't seen myself like on the TV yet.
Do you normally search? Like, will you search on I think there's like a website called like iSpot.tv or something. You don't search for like your commercial?
No. Usually when I'll feel that it's been a good amount of time, then I'll look it up on YouTube. That's where I found my first HEB commercial, and I didn't find it until maybe last year. And like I said, I filmed it when I was 16.
Oh, wow.
So,
and it's still on there?
Yes, it's still on. Well, it's not still playing.
But it's on YouTube.
But it's on YouTube, yeah.
Okay, that's cool. How has your perspective on acting changed since you first started? Since you started, like, as a teenager?
Well, when I started, I feel like it's less, I don't want to say like it's less intimidating now, but it's more easily accessible, let me say. When I first started, it was all in person. So it was in-person auditions. It was in-person acting classes. It was in-person interviews for agencies. So it was all in person. Like, now it's self-tape. Now you basically have control. So I get to be in control of the camera. I get to be in control of the lighting. I get to be in control of the way I show up. But when I was 16 and I was having to go into in-person auditions and in front of the casting director, it was intimidating. It's a big camera right in front of you. It's these big lights, and then it's, this panel of judges, and they're all just staring at you, and you're meeting them for the first time, and, So I would say it's less intimidating now, for me personally.
Because you have more control over the situation.
Yes. But now, too, because I've ventured out and I've networked myself with fellow actors in the industry, film producers, my agent is she's literally in my inner circle. Like, my agent knows my day-to-day all the time. If something's going wrong, I call my agent and I'm like, hey, this and that. But networking has really helped me a lot, and getting me out of my shell as an actor. Just because I feel like sometimes I feel like the oddball out, you know, like I feel like nobody really understands just because they've never been in the situations that I've been in, industry wise, you know, just because when you hear somebody say, oh, I'm an actor, it's like,
what have you been in?
Like, what do you mean? Like, are you on movies? You're on TV, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I've been on commercials, I've been blah, blah, blah. So let me tell you a story. So I was working at HEB about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago? Let me say. I was working at HEB, and I had filmed a K Jewelers commercial. Months go by, I'm working at HEB as a cashier, you know, just working. I go into the break room, and there's only one TV in the break room. So there's a little small flat screen TV plastered. And all of a sudden I hear the music playing from the K Jewelers commercial that would just be on repeat because they're filming, you know? So I hear it, and I turn and I look, and it was the scene that I was in. And of course I'm not recognizable, but I know I'm there. I know that I'm in there, you know? So when I turn and I look, I gasped. Like I gasped out loud, and there's other people in the break room. And so I remember this one guy turned around, and he whiplash. And he looks at me, and he's like, what? And I told him, I was like, oh, nothing. And he's like, well, why did you gasp? And then I told him, I was like, oh, I just saw myself on the TV, that's all. You're on the TV? Well, if you're on the TV, then why are you here? So then it really just like made me sit back in my chair, and I was just like, just because I was on the TV doesn't mean that, you know, I don't have to keep working. Like that's really what goes back to show actors, they're really hard workers. The money that we make isn't consistent, you know? Like I could get a job tomorrow and get this project, whatever, and get a good amount of money, but it's not consistent, you know?
Right.
So with that, it discouraged me. Like, I'm not going to lie. It discouraged me. It sat me back in my chair, and it made me really think, like, what am I doing here? You know? But that wasn't a good way to think, you know? Just because I'm here and I'm working and I'm doing what is needed to be done to get by right now doesn't mean that I'm going to be doing this forever, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. How do you, like, I don't know if you want to call it like a time where you don't, like, you're auditioning, but you're not booking. Like, how do you keep yourself motivated in those kind of situations?
Honestly, it's always you versus you. In reality, it's hard. It really is hard. Getting told no multiple times over and over and over again, and, you know, when you're an actor and you're bending your back and, you know, you're doing your research and you're doing your homework, and then you go and you perform. When I say perform, I mean self-tape, I mean auditions, I mean, you know, getting into character. That's what I mean by performing. And then after the show, you don't get your applause, I feel. It's very discouraging. It'll make somebody second guess.
Because nobody sees what happens, like, behind the scenes. Exactly. Like, we're auditioning every week, every other day, but no one sees that. Because just because I don't post, like, behind the scenes or pictures of every audition I get.
Right.
You know? And so it does not mean I'm not auditioning. You know? So it's like, it is hard because it's like, well, you're not, you know, just because I'm not on set every week or every other day, it's like, does it mean we're, like, not still working actors?
Right. But even with that, like, just because we're not on set, just because we're not auditioning, doesn't mean the work doesn't stop there.
Right.
The work is still going. The work is still being progressed, like with acting classes or, you know, private coaching or workshops. And, you know, there's workshops that are here in Austin. There's workshops that are there in San Antonio that are, you know, just coming about, barely getting word out, things like that. I mean, I know at our home base where we're at Alamo City Studios, I know they try to incorporate a lot of the film industry with acting coaches, with agencies, with film producers, and other things like that. And with that, I'm grateful to be a part of that home. I made my little way in there, and I really don't think I'm going to go anywhere else until something else opens for me, you know? But with that, I feel like acting is just like a sport. It's just like playing a sport. It's just like basketball.
Practice. Yep.
Practice makes perfect.
And then not everyone's going to post about them practicing, right? They'll post at the game or whatever.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Or when you win the award.
Yes. The same thing with acting. It's like, you know, spotted on so-and-so commercial or whatever. It's like you show the trophy, but you don't show what happens for you to get that trophy. And with acting,
I'd say the back-to-back no's, it's just you have to remember your goal. So with me personally, I always think, I don't get this one, something else is going to come up. I don't get the next one, something else is going to come up. But it's just you can't dwell on it, because if you dwell on it, then you're just going to keep pushing back. You know, you're just going to keep throwing that negative energy into the world, and nothing's going to come. You know, so I feel like the more I say it's okay, you know, or even not hearing anything, I would much rather not hear anything than, you know, to actually be told, you know what, we actually went with this other person, you know. Like, I'd much rather just
Well, yeah, that's how it is, like, for me. Like, I don't hear anything. Fine. Out of sight, out of mind, you know? But what advice would you have to someone who wants to be an actor?
Make sure that there's a whole lot that I could say. I'm thinking about me being 15 and what I would tell her trying to get into the industry. I would just say, know who you are, know what you want to do, and know your work ethic. Because at the end of the day, nobody knows how hard you work but you. So I could be ranting to somebody and telling this person, yeah, I do this, this, and this, and this, and that. But who knows behind closed doors what I really do, you know? So at the end of the day, you only know your work ethic. So if you want to put in the work, then put in the work. It's hard. It's hard out here, and it's very, very cutthroat. It's very competitive. And I like that. I like that competitive. I've always been competitive. I've always liked to compete. But not everybody is fit for it. So I would just say, if you're looking to get into the acting agency, find fellow actors that you can relate to, make friends with, find or look for an agency, try to ask them questions and see if you're comfortable with them, because there's agencies that feel like home and there's agencies that feel just like business, strictly business. The agency that I was signed with at first, it was strictly business. I didn't feel at home with her. I didn't feel like I could call on her on set if I had a question, you know, like I felt very like teacher student.
Oh, okay.
With her.
Very straight to the book.
Yes. But with my agent now, she's home. You know, she feels like a mother. Like she's like mom. You know, like I go on set and I get a piece of paper and it's like gibberish. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm about to sign. I call my agent and I'm like, Claudia, blah, 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 blah. Send me a picture, blah, blah, blah. I send her a picture and she's like, you know what? Sign blah, 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 blah. Put my name here, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, how else would I have known that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
If me going on set and me feeling intimidated by my agent and not wanting to ask questions, it would probably make me just sign whatever, put my home address or, you know, because there's criteria like that you have to follow,
right?
You know, I mean, I'm sure you know,
mm-hmm.
but like I said, there's different agencies and how they work. So I would say find your home, find where you fit in. And if you find a place, pursue it.
I love that. Pursue it, do it, and because home that's your peace, you know?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I say Alamo City Studios, it's like my second home.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I know, I always see you're like always there.
Always there.
Uh-huh.
If I'm not at home, I'm there, you know? And it's just because it makes my creative juices flow. Like, I get in there, I walk into the building, and it's like, I just feel like I'm home, you know?
Mm-hmm.
There's, like I said, there's acting coaches there, there's my agency, there's cyclorama rooms where people can rent out and make projects in. Like, there's some people that have done photo shoots or whatever with, like, cosmetic stuff. There's guys upstairs that do podcasts. There's music producers, you know, with soundproof studios. Like, it's literally like the best of both worlds. Like, it's everything that you can think of. But I love it there.
Yeah, it sounds like they got the whole shebang going
Yeah,
on there. Yeah, looks like I need to move to San Antonio.
We're up and coming.
Right. Well, thank you, Laila, for coming on.
Yes,
Appreciate
thank
you
you
for driving over here. You guys, I know the setup is a little bit different, but we hope you enjoyed it. YouTube fam, don't forget to subscribe, like. We will see you guys in 2 weeks.
Bye.